A good Thursday afternoon. This weather video is driven by 802cars.com, representing 802 Toyota, Twin Cities Subaru, and 802 Honda. They're all located off of Exit 7 on Interstate 89. Looking at the northern hemisphere and part of the southern hemisphere. A couple things here. This is Tropical Storm Debbie. Does not have a whole lot of wind with it, about 45 miles per hour sustained. It is going to take a track to the northeast and affect the British Isles in a few days. We also, and this is not Hector, but another system. A few of these hurricanes have been fairly active off of Mexico, and right here in the very horizon, you can see what is the Hawaiian Islands, and Hector had passed a little bit to the south of that, now on the other side of the Earth. Current situation here, the 500 millibar flow, big ridge of higher pressure, in fact a large heat dome over the west, you can see that here. It forces the jet stream to go way up into Canada and then come down south. This is an area of low pressure over Hudson Bay, and of course the trough of lower pressure. This is a last weather disturbance is going to work through actually this evening and overnight. It could produce just a few sprinkles. We do have some widely scattered showers and thunderstorms that are most likely going to erupt across areas of Vermont, generally along and east of the spine of the Green Mountains, and then track into New Hampshire. We are looking at a pretty decent scenario here with lowering humidity, and those dew point temperatures in the mid and upper 50s, some lower 50s, are going to advect and continue to blowing out a northwesterly wind over the next couple of days. It should set up Friday and especially Friday and Saturday to be the best days. It looks like we'll start to see a creep up in the humidity levels and just a little bit of moisture starting to get into parts of southern Vermont by Sunday night. It looks like we're going to be back in the MUGGYs as more of a return flow out of the Gulf of Mexico will start to take place for the good portion of next week, starting Monday. With all the fires in California, you can see easily these are all reports of smoke, and you can see that smoke carries way up into Canada and it's coming back around, and some of that smoke is going to be involved in our neck of the woods more than likely from time to time, probably as a thin smoke layer, but that's a lot of smoke in the western part of the United States from these fires. This may be also having some effects on the models with all the fire activity. Just in theory, there could be some issues causing the models to have a little bit more of a poor analysis. That poor analysis, of course, goes into the differential calculus and projections over time, and that's what a projected computer model does. Okay, we're looking at about 2 o'clock on Friday afternoon, and Thursday afternoon, and then you can see the last of that next little band kind of works on through during the overnight period, and then high pressure builds in and dries things out. 10, 19 millibar, nothing real serious there, but most of this area of higher pressure is going to try to keep this bit of business at bay with that return flow coming in around the Bermuda High, which is now pulled well off to the east. So along about Sunday night and into the day on Monday, we'll start to see that return flow and a little bit of moisture trying to creep into parts of Vermont. Now this is 12Z. It looks like about Tuesday of next week, and you can see some scattered showers and thunderstorms forming in the humid air. And it's going to be like that with a little bit more of an organized system here, kind of working its way along a cold front with one weather system tracking then across Quebec and into the Canadian Maritimes. Pulls that frontal system in, and this is along about Thursday of next week, and we'll just take it toward the end. This is 9 days out, and you can see we're back into shower and thunderstorm activity. GFS ensemble centered on Burlington. You can see that just a little precipitation carried over, but generally dry conditions, just a couple small percentage showers, and then we get into bigger business as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday and beyond. Weather Prediction Center 7-day total QPF, or total accumulated precipitation amounts. This is the 1 inch. This is a 1/4 of an inch. You can see this is kind of a no man's land here, a dry area, with most of that concentration across the southern part of the U.S. in toward the eastern seaboard. That moisture means we'll probably percolate some showers and thunderstorms for a good portion of next week. So, temperature-wise, a little bit of a dip in temperature here. We can see finally some cooler nights, at least 1 or 2, and then we're back into sort of muggy weather. Not as bad as it's been, but temperatures basically 60 to about 70. and a little bit of a ramp up in temperature over time back into the 80s. The European model has these temperatures mostly between the mid-70s and the low 80s, and I think that might be just a touch low, but for the most part, we're not looking at anything major in terms of warmth. So neutral for the next 5 days. These are high temperatures only, running near normal, a little bit warmer to the north of us and to the south and east of us. About 3 days later, very similar conditions, running about 3 degrees above normal, 6 degrees above normal toward Canada. Northern hemisphere is heated up considerably. Look at Greenland. And you can see much of Africa, even southern Africa, and most of the areas around Asia, Eurasia. This heat continues in this location here. A couple cool spots, and as you get into eastern parts of Siberia, also Alaska and the Yukon has cooled down considerably with the coldest temperatures. So overall, running about 0.4 of a degree above normal, 0.6 in the northern hemisphere, 0.2 in the southern hemisphere. The Arctic's pretty warm at 1.1 degrees. Antarctic is also relatively warm, you might notice, and the tropics about 0.4 of a degree above normal. That's your world temperatures. Hydrology, much needed precipitation. This is by county. Addison County starts here, Bennington. You might notice that Addison, Bennington has done very well. Parts of northeastern, north central Vermont not as good. A little bit above normal in Caledonia County as a whole. And again, we're looking at this first bar, which is the last 30 days or so. Look at Chittenden County, though, been missed. Looking at Essex County in far northeast Kingdom, not as much there. Franklin County, not seeing as much in northern parts of Vermont. This would be Grand Isle County, a little bit in the islands. Lamoille County, pretty dry. In fact, probably one of the driest at this point. Orange County has received some decent precipitation the last really 30 or even 60 days or month to date. Orleans County, you can see that drought, kind of almost pre-drought conditions there, with not a lot of precipitation falling. In fact, this is one of the lower indications, this bar here, for the last 30 days. Also looking at Rutland County, they've picked up a decent amount of precipitation over the last 30 days, even 60 days going out. Washington County, a little bit closer, but still below the mark. And as it looks right now, we'll check the last two counties here. Windham County has been doing quite well. They've been one of the drier counties. Now they've really caught up this last few weeks. And Windsor County also showing the same. So I would say probably still we need a decent amount of rainfall in places like Washington, Lamoille, Orleans County, Franklin County, up in that general area. Thanks for watching. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights.